I want to just spend a few minutes looking at the difference between the long-run aggregate supply and the short-run aggregate supply. When looking at this graph, and this is an ADS graph, notice I did not include the AD curve because I want us to focus on the differences between the long-run aggregate supply and the short-run aggregate supply. And I think when you look at this graph, the first thing you're going to notice is its relationship to price level. So when you're looking at the short run, you can see there is a direct relationship to price level. For example, let's call this point right here. Let's call that at a price level of 120. What we're saying, at a price level of 120, $10 trillion of goods will be produced in our economy. You can see if the price level goes up. Okay, if the price level goes up, you can now see that more will be produced in this economy. So for example, at a price level of 130, you can see there will be $11 trillion worth of goods produced. So what that shows us is there is a direct relationship between the price level and what is produced. And this shouldn't surprise you, because we can think, if we were producers and the price of our good increased from 50 cents to $1, we would want to supply more of that good. Now, you're probably asking, but wait, Miller, when price level goes up, doesn't cost go up? And in the short run, no, the cost does not go up. And the cost doesn't go up because of what we call input prices. When you own a business, your two major costs are wages and resources. And what's so special about both of these is they're what we call contracted, which means when an employee makes a deal with or negotiates wages, that's usually for a long-term contract. So we could be talking 3 years. So let's just say I make a arrangement with the company I work for, and they're going to pay me X amount in 3 years. Not only, okay, and that's the number one cost of any business, wages. The number two cost is the resources. All right, so if I'm a car dealership, I need steel. So I go to my steel manufacturer and I say, okay, for the next 3 years, how much are you going to sell me my steel for? And so we agree to a price, and that's what I mean by contracted. So if we go back to our example, say for example the price level goes from 120 to 130. Well, you can see that the price level is going to go up, and businesses in the short run are going to produce more. Why? Because these input prices have not changed. And if price level goes up and cost stays constant, you can see there's going to be an increase in production in the short term. Okay? So that's the idea of the short-run aggregate supply. Prices go up, but wages and resources are contracted, so they are not going to increase right away. Therefore, businesses are going to produce more. Now, what's going to happen when these 3 years are up? Then businesses are going to renegotiate those contracts. And this brings us then to the long-run aggregate supply. It's when input prices finally adjust to market prices. All right, so now you can see, and let's follow our example here. I work for a car dealership. Okay, price level goes up. Now I'm going to renegotiate my wages by asking for more wages. Not only that, resource companies are going to say, look, I'm willing to provide you steel, but I need to charge you a higher price because the price level has gone up. So once these contracts are renegotiated, then basically we are going to be on the long run curve. At that point, you can see that the increase in price level equals the increase in wages. So say, for example, here, prices went up 10%. Well, if prices go up 10%, then we know wages are going to go up to 10%. So in long run, there are no surprises. Everybody knows how much prices have increased, and everybody are negotiating accordingly. Okay, back to this idea of relation to price level. You can see in the short run there's that direct relationship to price level. 120 to 130 causes 10 trillion versus 11 trillion. Well, you can see in the long run, it is a vertical line which represents an independent relationship to price level. It doesn't matter where the price level is. It doesn't matter if it's at 120 or 130. GDP is always going to be $10 trillion. And that is because that long run aggregate supply is placed at full employment. Remember, full employment is at potential. This is where we want to be. Okay, this is where we strive to be. We want to be on this line. We don't want to be to the left of this line because that represents a recession. To the right of this line represents inflation. So this long run aggregate supply is placed at potential. It's full employment. Remember from our discussion in the past, full employment is anywhere from 4 to 5%. It's that natural rate of unemployment. We know that we're always going to have frictional, we're always going to have structural, we're always going to have seasonal employment. So therefore, our full employment is 4 to 5%. All right, so just to review, in the short run, there's a direct relationship between the price level and what is produced because cost does not increase. Prices go up, but cost does not go up. So therefore, your producers will produce more. In the long run, when those contracts are renegotiated and everything returns to market price, you are now back on the vertical line. That vertical line, as you can see, is independent of price level. Regardless of what the price level is, full employment's always going to be 10 trillion.